Richard writes in, how do we get rid of fret buzz? So in today's episode, we're going to deal with fret buzz and how to get rid of it. Fret buzz! Eric's guitar.
Eric's guitar. Eric's guitar. Eric's guitar. Eric's guitar.
Eric's guitar. He fixes guitars for everybody in town.
First position fret buzz is the worst. It'll make you not want to buy a good guitar. Buzz or lack of buzz on a guitar is from 3 factors: how much curvature there is in the neck, how high the string nut is, and how high the bridge saddle or bridge is. So what we're going to do first on this guitar is put more curvature in the neck, put a fresh set of strings on, cut the nut down, and see where we're at from there. So let's go ahead and do that restring. Where is it?
It's fret buzz!
Of course, you want to loosen the strings before you cut them. You do not want to cut them at full tension. Next, we pull the bridge pins out of the guitar so we can get the string out. Of course, pull them off of the head.
Who is it?
It's fret buzz!
Go away!
On this guitar, we're going to install D'Addario EXP strings, 11 to 52. It's a light string, easy to play, but still large enough to get the top to vibrate, push out some sound, and get nice rich tone out of the guitar. And on the rest of the guitar, let's polish it up. It's easier to do before we put the strings on. Make sure the bushings are nice and tight. To make the proper adjustments, we need to be up to full tension. Still, we have those dirty notes. So the first thing we want to do is relax the tension rod inside of the neck. We're going to take pressure off of it, allowing the tension of the strings, which is about 125 pounds of pressure, to pull the neck up. We need a bow in the neck. When I hit that string, the rotation of the string needs to be followed by the curvature of the neck to get the cleanest note possible. Our truss rod nut on this guitar is inside of the guitar. Some guitars are adjustable at the headstock, but on this guitar, the nut is right here. This is the proper size wrench that we're going to make that adjustment with. We're going to get in here and loosen it up. It's very tight, which is good. We want that kind of pressure on that rod if we have a back bow. That means there's room to move. You get an idea of what kind of curvature we're putting in now. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to capo the first fret lightly without too much pressure. And what I want to see is a gap between the string and the fret of about 11,000ths of an inch. So I'm going to fret at the 15th fret and check it at the 7th. So we're holding the string down on the first fret and the 15th fret, and we're going to check the gap at the 7th. We're going to check both sides. We could still use a little more curve in the neck. You can see that the string is pushing this feeler gauge a little bit. So we'll get in here and go just a little bit looser. That looks good. So let's play it again. And we'll see how much cleaner the guitar is. Usually when you have a back bow, most of your buzz is in the first position, first 4 frets. Big difference. But we're not done yet. Where is it?
It's UPS.
Let's measure the height of the nut, and we're going to do this by taking the feeler gauge. That's 21,000ths of an inch. Eric's guitar.
It's fret buzz!
And we're going to measure the gap between the string and the first fret. As I push through, everything so far is a little bit high. It's not that far off, so we're okay. But we are going to cut that down to be exactly 21,000ths of an inch. Each one of these is gauged for the thickness of the string that we are cutting down. The first string is an 11, so I'm going to want to use 12,000ths of an inch. We're going to pull the string aside, cut it down slightly. Again, the nut height was very close. We're not that far off. This is also good because if the string is burred into the nut, we're going to open the slots up and allow the string to pass through freely. Our G is 22 thousandths of an inch. I've got a file that's 26. We're gonna bring it down just a little bit. Pull the string back into the groove. Test it, that's good. We're at 32 thousandths of an inch for our D string, so I'm gonna use a gauge, 36 file. Take a little material out, put it back in, check it. I'd like to go a little bit further. That looks good. We're at 42 thousandths. As we get closer to the nut, the string is harder to move. It's harder to manipulate. So we're gonna detune the guitar a little bit. And lastly, we got a 52 on the bottom. We're gonna take a file that's 50 thousandths of an inch wide, but we're gonna rock it just a little bit to compensate for the extra 2 thousandths of an inch. Great, that looks good. Now let's see how high the string is off of the 15th fret, and we'll make that adjustment from the bridge saddle. Right now we're at about 5/64 of an inch. I would not suggest any lower than this. If you want to bring it up a little bit for a cleaner note, we can do that. We have a pickup sandwiched between the bridge and the saddle. So if we're going to bring this up, what I'm going to do is pull the saddle out of the guitar. We're going to glue a small veneer of maple to the bottom of the saddle, reshape the saddle, and reseat it. At that time, we'll deburr the top of the saddle. The string, it's harder than the saddle, so we'll put slight notches in the top of the saddle. So we'll go ahead and sand those out in the process of shimming it, reset it, and everything should be good. Here's a nice little trick. Go ahead and capo the first fret again before you take the strings off the guitar. That way they won't fly off of the head and get all tangled up. Remove the saddle. The pickup is now exposed. That's what this is here. So we need to keep a nice uniform flat surface on the bottom of the saddle, but we also need to get more height out of the saddle. So I'm going to go ahead and glue a piece of maple to the bottom of it. We'll cut it down, get it reseated, and we'll be good. We're going to bead a glue down the side of it. It's a very thin glue. It'll penetrate all the way through to the other side. Take a shot of accelerator, get that glue to dry quickly. Obviously that's too big, it's not going to fit. We're going to cut it down. We'll clean up our edges with a razor blade. Who is it?
It's Fred Buzz!
So we'll reseat the pickup, reseat the saddle, and go ahead and get those strings back on. This is where it pays off to have that capo on there because it keeps all the strings nice and uniform. Once the strings are in the bridge, we'll pull the capo off and get it back up to pitch. Let's take a measurement of that action again. Off of the 15th fret, we'll see a gap of about 3/32 of an inch on the bass side, and on the treble side, we're just under 3/32. That's a good action for someone who wants a cleaner note. Very clean note, very different from when we first started working on the guitar. And that's how we do it. Oh!
The Buzz has missed the beat.